Blueprints of a Lie, the Ghost Floor. The monsoon rain lashed against the glass of the Vajra Tower, Mumbai's newest jewel. Inside her office, Ananya Shrivastav stared at the digital schematics until her eyes ached. Between the luxury penthouses on floor 45 and the mechanical suites on floor 44, there was a gap of 12 feet that didn't exist in the city-approved plans. A ghost floor hummed in the silence of the steel. Ananya's mentor, Vikram, had been the lead architect before his accidental fall from a balcony last month. Now, the blueprints felt like a confession he had left behind for her to find. Ananya didn't use the main lobby. She slipped into the service elevator, her heart hammering a frantic rhythm against her ribs. She pulled a modified keycard from her pocket, Vikram's old pass. She pressed the buttons for 44 and 45 simultaneously, then entered a sequence of digits she'd found scribbled in the margins of his notebook. The elevator shuddered, the floor indicator light flickered and died, and the car began to descend into the space that shouldn't exist. The doors slid open to a world of illicit opulence. Floor 44B was a sprawling, windowless expanse of mahogany, velvet, and gold. Crystal chandeliers hummed with a low, expensive vibration. This was the secret playground for the city's corrupt elite, a high-stakes casino and boardroom hidden from the sun. Ananya stepped out onto the plush carpet, feeling like a ghost in a tomb of greed. The air smelled of expensive cigars and cold desperation. She found the executive boardroom at the end of a long, silent corridor. On the central table lay a leather-bound ledger. Ananya flipped through the pages, her blood turning to ice. The entries detailed millions diverted from the building's structural reinforcement fund to pay for the ghost floor's luxuries. High-grade steel had been replaced with cheaper alloys. The foundation was compromised. The Vajra Tower wasn't a landmark. It was a ticking time bomb, and the elite were gambling on its very bones. At the back of the ledger, a clipped police report fell out. It was about Vikram. Beneath it was a handwritten note from the building's owner. Rathore refuses to sign the safety certificates. Handle it. The realization hit her like a physical blow. Vikram hadn't fallen. He had been pushed for the sake of a secret floor and a balance sheet. Tears blurred her vision, but she blinked them back. She pulled an encrypted drive from her pocket and began copying the digital files from the boardroom terminal. In a security hub 5 floors below, Kabir, the head of Vajra Security, noticed a flicker on his monitors. A shadow had moved in the ghost floor's boardroom. He leaned forward, his face etched with a cruel, professional curiosity. No one was supposed to be on 44B tonight. He tapped his radio, his voice a low growl as he alerted his team. The hunt was beginning, and Kabir enjoyed the hunt more than the capture. The chime of the elevator echoed through the hall. Ananya froze. Footsteps, heavy and rhythmic, were approaching the boardroom. She grabbed the drive and the ledger, diving behind the heavy velvet curtains, just as a security guard entered the room, his flashlight cutting through the gloom like a blade. She held her breath, her chest aching, as the beam of light swept over the table where she had stood moments before. The guard turned toward the windows, and Ananya saw her only chance. Near the ceiling was a wide ventilation grate, the lungs of the building. She scrambled onto a side table, her fingers straining to unscrew the vent cover with a pocket tool. The metal groaned, sounding like a gunshot in the silence. She didn't look back. She hauled herself into the dark, narrow shaft just as the guard tore the curtain aside. The vent was a labyrinth of cold tin and whistling wind. As Ananya crawled, the building groaned, a deep metallic moan that vibrated through her teeth. The ledger's warnings were coming true. The tower was settling, the compromised steel straining under the weight of the storm. She felt the vibration of the entire structure, a giant of glass and lye ready to shatter. She kept moving, the encrypted drive tucked into her waistband, her only weapon against the men who built a tomb and called it a tower. She emerged onto a maintenance balcony on the 30th floor, the wind nearly tearing her from the ledge. Below, Mumbai was a sea of lights, unaware of the danger looming above. Ananya gripped the railing, her knuckles white. She had the blueprints, the ledger, and the truth about Vikram. The Vajra Tower might still stand for a few more days, but the empire of the men on floor 44B was about to come crashing down. She disappeared into the rain, a shadow carrying the light of justice.